Hello, everyone. This is Vandana Suri. I'm the founding trustee of Neeva Foundation. Our foundation has the clear project of a safe future for women and children. Before we even get to what we do, let me show you the kind of SDGs that we cover: gender equality, inclusivity in workplaces. We're looking at violence against women and children coming down, obviously, reduce inequalities. Um, in fact, our efforts have also been acknowledged by the World Bank. I have been recipient of the World Bank Award under the SDGs and her 2019 contest for the work we did. And we got selected from over 188 countries and 1,200 applications. So this was a big pat to us on our back. Let me now tell you what we do and how we build up safe and empowered communities. We have four projects going on simultaneously. The first one is a life skill training for marginalized women. We train them in professional driving skills. There is a huge market demand for women in the driving space for women cabs, and we see the very high potential for employment. The second thing is we create women entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs are the lifeblood of any single country's economy. The more the entrepreneurs, the more the job creation, and further, that's how the countries totally get back into life. The third thing that we do is also these women entrepreneurs, when they want to set up their small businesses, they might need a little financial support when they're starting up, and that's what we give them as advances, just as a startup to roll on. The first thing that we kind of acquired over time beyond skilling was supporting women in domestic violence. I will take you through each of the projects on a more detailed level now. So let's come to driving skills for marginalized women. So we train women from the poorer segments of the society. These are usually maids, cooks, women who've hardly got any education. Maybe primary pass would have been like the highest that they would have done. And we train them from 4 to 6 months to become professional drivers. Okay, huge need in the market for women to drive women and children. Okay, now, not just driving training, we also give them a lot of further build up trainings, work readiness. So their English speaking, their self defense. How do you be client ready and interfacing? That's the level of proficiency that we bring them at. Now, these women are then placed with taxi. Why are they placed with taxi? Why is it such a comfortable place out there? Because taxi runs a woman cab organization which is predominantly driving only women and children. So even the women drivers are safe as well as the clientele is safe. And it builds up an ecosystem of safety. Like I mentioned, everything that we do is towards empowerment of women and women and child safety. Now, these women, being maids and cooks, they used to earn maybe 4 to 5 thousand, 6,000 a month, and they have started moving to 12,000 to 25,000 a month, depending on how much time they're putting into the system. So basically, a part timer is making about 12,000. A full time makes between 23 to 25,000 rupees a month, which is a very big jump from where they have been coming from. In the last 4 years, we have trained about 350 women, and we will continue our training over there. Now, while the world was reeling against the COVID disaster, we started seeing how to manage this disaster. What kind of relief functions do we need for this disaster? How do we recoup back into disaster? So we think creating women and entrepreneurs was a very important part of the entire process. Any entrepreneur setup is like bringing fresh blood into the economy. It is sustenance, it's a lot of confidence, it's a lot of family support for women to get into a financial level job. More importantly, so the segment that we are working on right now is creating these women who have some experience in driving, and they can now train women clientele how to drive. So there is a train the trainer course. Everything that we're doing is related to driving, so this was another additional that we do. So we have a train the trainer course for women. Now, A lot of women during the COVID, a lot of people actually just lost their jobs from whichever segments. It could be lower income, middle class, upper class, everybody. There was a slash through of jobs during COVID. Um, and, for normally for women, when they come get back to work, even after like a normal pregnancy leave and all, we all know how saturated the market is. There is hardly any space for a woman to get back to work in regular circumstances also. And even if she comes at a regular circumstances, she comes at a very, very low pay, which is what has been the situation of the industry. Now here we are trying to build entrepreneurship models so that a woman becomes back into her confidence and her income levels. This is actually, like I said, it's helping them rebuild their lives. Now, what happens is that they become training partners for taxi. Okay, so taxi now has a huge demand during the COVID. Cab business went totally fat, right? There were a lot of cabs which were without work right now. People were scared about taking public transport. But what emerged was a demand of women clientele wanting to drive their own cars. And there is no women driving segment in the entire country at this point of time. But there is a huge demand. So we decided, let's build up our women who have lost their jobs, who know how to drive, and get them to become trainers. And these women today, they're running this now from last 3 to 4 months, and they're already earning 50 to 70,000 rupees a month. And that's a good bounce back for any woman. uh, we also have a working with Takshi, because these women are joining, they're trained by us, and they are joining Takshi as partners. So Takshi will give us a 5% of the top line revenues of these women for as long as these women are working. So for us, it is a one time support that we're giving her, but it is also feeding back into the NGOs kitty to support more women entrepreneurs coming ahead, and it makes it a very sustainable ecosystem. We also have financial support for starting up. Now, many a times when you're training women, predominantly Taxi is now looking at training women in the driving in their own cars. However, there is also a need for some of their clients saying that we want to be trained on the trainer's car. And that's how we have leasing partner and bank tie-ups for their cars, which they can take, their training cars, which they can take on lease. There's also a small franchise fee which actually is charging, which is about 1 lakh. So we're like, okay, maybe this lady can bring in 50,000 and we could support her with another 50,000 to kind of come back to us every month on month from her earnings. And this is interest free. This is just to get the ball rolling. A little help at the start will help her stabilize and make about 12 to 15 lakhs a year. Uh, like I said, it comes back into the pool of entrepreneurs. There's also a woman community support. Now, these women are going out and training more women how to drive. This increases the community support across the society. Women relate to women very, very well. And that helps bring these little jigsaw puzzles of support all together. And why we also, like I mentioned, we believe that entrepreneurship is like a new lease of life. Now, these women, somebody who's slightly educated, maybe lost her job, rebuilding her life, earning 70,000 rupees a month now with a business venture, she will soon start wanting to employ more women. So this is a woman segment who is going to employ more women. It brings more women into the workplace. It increases the inclusivity in the entire society, and it makes safe workplaces for women as well. So it's an entire ecosystem of safety that we are making out here. Now, this segment was something which really just fell into our lap. During the COVID pandemic, we realized that women were stuck in their homes, and it didn't make a difference as to whether they were marginalized, they were rich, poor, nothing. They were stuck at home, and there was a 70 to 80% increase in the reporting on domestic violence. Now, this definitely needed our attention, and I think it needs the entire society's attention. So what we started doing was building a support team to support the victims out here. The first thing was getting a network of befrienders, women who already have faced domestic violence. They know and they have survived it. These are women who become befrienders. They actually pick up the calls, talk to more women who are going through it. And it's like talking the same language, understanding what the other woman's pain is. Further than this, it's not just about reporting domestic violence to somebody. She could need counseling, she could need police support, she could need a lawyer, she could need a medical support, she could need families to get together. There is a whole lot. Each case is very different and might need a very different support structure. One very interesting thing that was very, very enlightening for us during this COVID pandemic, those marginalized women whom we trained in driving. Now, they were obviously jobless during this pandemic time because cabs, public transport was totally shut down. But the heroism, the power, the strength of these women really came out when they started rescuing women facing domestic violence. So suddenly, this woman who's been a cabbie, who's been driving children, keeping them safe, who's been driving women, was now the knight in the shining armor and saving more women who were facing domestic violence. And you can just imagine the pride that these women had, that, what am I contributing out here to the society? It's more like the purpose of life. Like I said, there are huge conversations. There's also a very intergenerational impact conversation. So let's look at the situation where there are children who've grown up seeing domestic violence being a very normal part of their homes. And this is what continues into the next generations as they grow up and they go into their married lives. So it's very important for everybody in the family to understand the taboo related to domestic violence. We also encourage these women and try to see if they can go for life skill trainings, possibly for driving or franchisees, get placement, and get independent. Financial independence is a very, very key need for any survivor. That's how many we have addressed domestic violence cases in 3 months. The numbers are simply mind boggling. These are the support partners over the years. Um, I mean, we're really, really thankful. Everybody has come in their own little way and joined this movement of, women and child safety. We are very thankful to them, and we look at more support from these partners and more to come. Join this movement. Now, these are our budgets for the next 1 year. Like I mentioned, we have 4 projects. One is for creating employability. So we have your professional driving skills. That's about 60 odd lakhs. There is also the women entrepreneurship and the sustainability model for 48 entrepreneurs for a month is what we're looking at. And then there is safe communities by controlling domestic violence and giving them support. That's our core team. That's me, Vandana Suri. I'm an ex-investment banker, 20 plus 25 years of experience right now. I'm also the founder of Taxi. And yes, I'm a cabbie as well, so I understand the state of women in the cab segment, and that's how we've tried to create this entire ecosystem. We joined by Monisha Charles. She was in the CSR community of State Street, and she is helping us with global knowledge of how NGOs work and how we could engage more with communities. And Fiona Martin herself has been a survivor of domestic violence, and she is like the pillar behind this entire DV project. So that's us. I'm really looking forward to more conversations and more, involvement from donors, from CSR partners, from NGOs. Let's join this movement. Together we can. Thank you so much and look forward to hearing from you.